Why do you speak my language? Chapter 1. Do you really speak English?
So, what's your name?
I stood there, staring at the horse. It was talking. Talking to me. It was definitely a mare, if her voice was any indication. Her eyes were wide, like those plates that I used to eat off of. She had wings, was purple, and had this crown thing on her head that made me wonder if she was just playing dress-up, or if some poor owner of hers wanted to torture this horse. This mare that spoke English. What? The winged horse snorted.
I said, what's your name?
I blinked. My name? Out of all things this horse wanted to know, it was my name? What about the extras? You know, this talking mare probably hasn't seen a pale-looking hairless ape before. At least that's what science would probably describe me, as if I was part of Darwin's theories. Wait, why am I thinking of evolution right now? Did David invite me to one of his academic drinking parties again?
Hello?
I shook my head, flailing my vampire-colored hands in front of her muzzle. Sorry, it got stuck in my head, you know? Unfortunately, her muzzle scrunched up like my hopes and dreams.
No, I don't think I do.
Oh, I said as images of my dignity flew off into the sunset before they burnt up into a crisp. I took a closer look at the horse. Yet again, she had wings, which was totally not part of the horses back home. So was she considered a Pegasus? Well, she might not be, as the horn could probably skewer me if I tried flopping on it. I internally groaned, but externally smacked myself. My forehead probably glowed like Rudolph's nose, but I couldn't muster up enough to care about it. Instead, I cared way more about why this horse existed, let alone talked in English. Speaking of... So why do you want to know my name? She just tilted her head.
Well, isn't that what you ask any pony when you first meet them?
My brow had a spasm attack, one that threatened to prepare for liftoff from my face. I don't think you asked that to a completely alien species, horsey. Suddenly, I heard her neigh. She had snorted just like before, except it sounded like she was angry. Extremely angry.
Well, that's not very nice of you to say.
She growled, her voice full of grit and disappointment. Just like my mother. Sorry about that. And suddenly, she perked up a bit, her ear twitching. She slowly walked up towards me, talking all the while.
Okay, just know that I'm a mare, not a horse.
A horse?
Yeah, isn't that what you said?
That head tilt again. I wonder if that crown was super glued to her skull. No, I said horse. You know, with an H as a starter.
An H? What's that?
I blinked hard and fast, my mind racing with all the possibilities. She spoke my language, but didn't know what the alphabet was. What the absolute— What, you don't speak English?
Of course I do.
She replied, nodding like she totally just said she spoke English.
It's the most common language in Equestria.
Well, the letter H is in the alphabet, and—
What? No, it's not.
This horse thing stood at me with a face so confident in her words that she thought that she would have to declare war on me to settle it. Little does she know, I studied political science and photography at Turbo Virgin University. That in total should give me a career path with an estimated gross income of like $21,000 a year. Unless I get lucky and score in as a campaign head. You know, if she asks about that, I'll tell her I studied in astrophysics. I don't want her knowing about my OnlyFans. Then again, it's not like she'd even know what feet are. I gave her a smile that I hoped didn't look like my bottom lip was having an aneurysm, because it sure felt like I was having one. Then what is it? What does your alphabet look like? Her wings sprung out of nowhere, like a Glock being unloaded by a crazy crackhead. Each shot was another indicator. Her eyes lit up, her mouth frothing like the crackhead that she probably— Wait, hold on. Why is she frothing out the mouth? Are you okay? She sat down in front of me. Her horn charged up in a purple light before suddenly a book blinked right in front of us, unopened. She gestured a hoof towards it, as if she was telling me to open it, which I totally took the opportunity, my hand gripping onto the corner of the book and flicking it open. The execution wasn't as cool as I was hoping, the pages flipping around like a terrible catch I got at the pond back home. Fishing sucks for me. I blinked away my train of thought and derailed right into the book, which stared at me with a text of... what is this?
Twilight.
she said, like it was matter of fact. Twilight?
You still haven't told me your name.
She droned, and I rolled my eyes. Just call me Rick.
Okay, Rick.
She began, giving me a smile. It was kind of odd to see her smile like that. Horses don't smile like that.
So, what is what?
I pointed right at the text in front of me. This. She looked like a deer in headlights, blinking ever so slowly to make sure that she heard me right.
What do you mean?
Her hoof stomped on the book gently, meeting my hand. Well, look at it! That's totally not the English alphabet! I removed my hand from the book. Much to Twilight's chagrin, her muzzle scrunched up once again.
I don't get what you mean. Isn't peace sign the first letter in the alphabet?
I stared at the book. What the heck did sun, pointer finger, peace sign, thumbs down, okay hand, sad face, flag, death, thumbs down, pointer finger, bomb, flag, bomb, pointer finger, death, ice, water mean? My voice anchored what little hope I had in her hopes and dreams. There's no way you're serious.
Of course I am! Language construction and theory was a sub-minor that I studied in, and—
A sub-minor. Her eye boggled, threatening to roll right out of her skull.
Didn't you have sub-minors in your world? A minor for your minor?
I blinked. I don't know, Twilight. Astrophysics was way too hard to care about other degrees. She giggle-snorted her wings into a twist.
Oh, Rick, my sweet summer foal. That's something I can do in my sleep. However, language construction is always changing, just like friendship.
What?
Don't you know the magic of friendship?
I nodded. Slowly. Yeah. She blinked like a broken strobe light at a club.
I don't think you do.
Twilight, we just met, I began, throwing my hands in the air. You know that anything that is part of this world is completely foreign to me, and—
Well, I didn't know that. I thought you looked like a malnourished diamond dog,
she said, with a slight tinge of excitement lingering in her words.
I originally thought that I'd have to get you some diamonds to eat from Spike's stash, but I don't think he'd be too happy that his aquamarine gems were gone.
I shook my head, not even wanting to comprehend what the hell she just said. Unfortunately for me, my brain wanted to try it, causing a sudden surge of pain to course through my skull. The pounding made me hold my head, hoping that I could get past it just by propping my head up just a tad. I wish I went into the medical field. My brain disagreed, which made me wince. I don't even want to know about that yet.
Good, because I'm curious about what you are. So, care to share everything about you?
I sighed. I hate wingdings. Chapter 2. Are you sure about that?
I don't see what the problem is.
I sighed. Twilight wasn't understanding why the alphabet of whatever English that she spoke was completely and utterly broken. Hell, the peace sign doesn't even make any sense. She's a pony, not a human with hands. Shouldn't the alphabet here be more streamlined to make the ponies relate to it more, or something? I sat there, crisscrossed in my own tormented mind, struggling to comprehend the world around me. It was so hard to figure all of this out that I couldn't count to 5 without imagining an emoji of a hand smacking me on my nose. I felt the urge to nurse that imaginary blunder, my hand reaching up to gently rub my nose, but that itch suddenly faded, leaving me look like a complete moron if Twilight decided to look over at me. Luckily, she was too preoccupied, probably thinking as hard as I am, her hoof slowly creating a trench in her library. Or was it a library? There were bookshelves, surely, but they didn't really match that library style back home. They were bigger, rocketing straight towards the ceiling at a breakneck pace, and they were filled, too. To the sides of them were large plush cushions that I bet would plop me right into its comforts without much effort. However, the crystal chairs were a bit funny looking. Who thought crystal chairs were good enough to be made into furniture? Just looking at them made me think of all the back problems I'd have. I shivered as I walked towards one of the bookshelves. I held my hands close as I moved, looking from shelf to shelf. There were no books I wanted to read, mostly because if I tried reading them, I'd know for sure I wouldn't understand it. Besides, I was in a completely different world, where ponies had wings and horns, and they talked in a language that sounded like his, but was certainly not written the same. So why should I care about reading right now? Unconsciously, I found myself twiddling with my thumbs, particularly scratching the side of one, while I rubbed the other gently. It was a nervous tic I've had since I was a little boy. It wasn't a bad one to have, better than what I've heard from most people. Yet, it reminded me when I was 5 somewhere in this aging shell I called my prime. 5, 6, 7, 8. You're all those and more, son. I shook away the memory. The face that showed its pearly whites faded into the backdrop, as Twilight, the purple-horned mare with wings, continued her charade, pacing back and forth despite the floor's scuffed appearance. I pried my hands away from each other and pushed myself off the ground. I needed to stop this before she fell through the floor. As I approached her, I tried to smile her way, but I knew I was miserably failing at it, my lips settling for an awkward smirk instead. As soon as I saw the symbols and shit pop up, I immediately knew it had to be Wingdings, because it's such a memey little font. If you could even call it a font. Because Wingdings is entirely different from Times New Roman. Now let's get off of the font talk and let's get on to our super smart donators. Top donators, Dash of Evergreen, Peter Coulthard, J Tin Man, Darkside, and Ponyman. CourierCruz CI, Delta Omega, Strix, RuneScyther 9852, Dospo, Rhiny Dragonwolf, Hunter Norman, Austin Roland, Secret Moon, Tal Rasha, The Toilet Snake, Sword Brethren Mordred, Cerberus, Goulash Eating Hazar, Ronin Wandering, Starlight Glimmer, Squiddy Boy, David E. Sanchez, Soul Dragon, Gaggy, Trey, Shadow Drake, Joe Piercy, Alex F., Rainbow Dash, Teal K. Anderson, TV Killer, John Becker, Leon Reynolds, Raven Speedster, Zach Rakow, and Mr. ECU. Thank you all very much for watching this video, and live life to the fullest.